Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Now, rich men give charity to the poor, yet they're the reason why the poor is poor. See, the life produces enough for everyone to have an abundance. Each individual, the life produces enough for each individual to have more than they need. But all must be balanced. If one man has way more than he needs, then 2 and 3 here, needs won't be met. And it trickles down into the life. 100 rich men will result in a whole village of people. A village of 2,000 men not having their needs met because the life is all balanced. So I say again, when rich men give charity to the poor, it's a deep thing because they're the reasons for it. Now the poor strive to be rich, and they look to adopt the rich man's ways so that they can use it as a path to get there. You know, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So it's a deep thing. And in that, they switch sides, being as though the rich oppress the poor. The rich are the reason why the poor is poor. The poor works for the rich. Grass. The rich takes the poor's share. The poor works for the rich for pieces of their share, striving to be like the rich man so that they can take away from others also and have the poor, which they come from, work for them now. And no one looks to bring balance where everyone has their birthright wealth, their piece of land, and the resources on it. It's a very deep thing I want y'all to grasp. We look at things from the wrong perspective. We look to combat the poor. You have the poor giving to the poor. Charity. You got the rich giving charity. We think charity is going to help the poor. Mind you, as long as you have men who are completely rich out of their minds, you know, Oprah and all of them, as long as you have these cases, you will always have poor people. And you can give all the charity you want until you address the real issue, which is people don't have their own land and their own access to resources. Then you pretty much just nitpick away at a problem that's as big as a mountain. It keeps growing back everywhere you nitpick at. So it's a deep thing we have to grasp. There's many problems, there's many simple solutions. But for some reason, men ignore reality and truth. Poor men ignore the fact that men being rich is the reason they're poor. They ignore that. They admire the poor. They hate their own kind. It's a deep thing. It's like slaves in the past. They used to hate one another, but love master. Whoever could be coolest with master, that was their goal. It's a deep thing. Truly a deep thing. That's a lesson on the rich and the poor. Because everybody wants to be rich, not realizing what being rich truly is, especially when the life produces enough for us all to have more than we can embellish in. It's a deep thing. There's enough for us all to get lost equally in. But that messes up status. If everybody can have the same things, then men won't feel great. See, men have to feel better than one another. Therefore, they can rule over one another. So men become great, and then they rule over men less than them. And this is why you'll never have, I ain't gonna say never, but this is why you don't have balanced men. This is why you have rich men and poor men. Because men have to feed their insecurities off the state of others. It's a deep thing. It's a deep thing. But I sit here and I think deeply. Like I said, I'm a philosopher. Many of you know this already. And I sit back and I think on the most philosophical things that most men don't dwell on. The simple things in life that men overlook. They look to the most complex things, passing up so much simple truth that leads up to that complexity. And chop down the simple truth. The rest falls with it. It's a deep thing. But it's your main man, Solace, the wise servant. Peace and wisdom.